Welcome to Storyflix. In this video, we will explain Wotakoi Love is Hard for Otaku. This movie tells the story of a woman who works as an office clerk. Every day, she always hides her otaku fujoshi lifestyle from her co-workers. She meets her childhood friend at work, a handsome and capable man who turns out to be a game otaku. They seem a perfect couple, but love is always hard for an otaku. Will love eventually grow between them? Let's find out in Wotakoi Love is Hard for Otaku. Wotakoi Love is Hard for Otaku begins by showing the atmosphere of a meeting room in a company. A man seems to be explaining something to all employees in the company, and a female employee who is sleepy and yawns when listening to the explanation, which is none other than Narumi Mamas. Her co-worker then tried to warn Narumi to listen carefully to their superior's explanation. After the meeting, Narumi told her friend that she is a fujoshi otaku who likes otaku games and idols. When at home, Narumi spends most of her time watching anime and playing games until late night, which causes her to often fall asleep at work. When she was about to return to her room, she accidentally bumped into a handsome man named Hirotaka Nafuji, who turned out to be her childhood friend. Seeing Narumi, Hirotaka then asked if she still often went to comic shops. However, Narumi ignored him and immediately rushed off because she was embarrassed by Hirotaka's friend who was standing beside him. After that, Narumi came to Hirotaka's room and asked him for drinks after work, and Hirotaka accepted the invitation. Narumi and Hirotaka had dinner at a diner and played games together afterward. Narumi then tells Hirotaka about hiding her identity as a fujoshi otaku because she blames being an otaku for difficulties in her life and attempts to keep it a secret, especially at work. Hirotaka seems to understand Narumi's reasoning because he is actually an otaku gamer who spends most of his free time gaming. But, unlike Narumi, Hirotaka does not care if everyone knows that he is an otaku. Hirotaka then asks if Narumi already has a boyfriend. But Narumi instead tells about her ex-boyfriend who ended their relationship after discovering that she was an otaku. Hirotaka then suggested that Narumi find a boyfriend who understands her hobbies and identity as an otaku. However, Narumi didn't want that because if there was a man who understood her hobby, then that man must also be an otaku. Narumi actually doesn't want to have an otaku boyfriend because she thinks that otaku men must be freaks and will definitely make her feel ill. On the way home, Narumi thanked Hirotaka because she could finish the game thanks to him. Hirotaka suddenly asks Narumi to be his girlfriend. Hirotaka reasons that if Narumi is dating him, she doesn't need to hide her identity as an otaku and can continue carrying out her hobbies freely. Hearing this, Narumi agreed and she was officially dating Hirotaka. Shortly afterward, Narumi's friend asked about the rumors that she and Hirotaka were dating. Narumi denies her love affair with Hirotaka and admits they are just friends. While on the other hand, Hirotaka, who was also asked about the same thing, openly said that he and Narumi were indeed dating. Hirotaka was surprised by the behavior of Narumi, who always avoided him while at the office, even though they had agreed to date. Hirotaka then chased after Narumi, who tried to run away from him. While in front of the elevator, he then apologized to Narumi for scaring her. Hirotaka says he shouldn't have asked Narumi to be his girlfriend because they were closer when they became friends. But when they were already in the elevator, Narumi then hugged Hirotaka and apologized for always avoiding him while in the office. She then promises that from now on she will not avoid him again and tries not to feel embarrassed about their love affair. One day, Hirotaka and Narumi play a game together at Narumi's house. After that, he asked Narumi out on a date and made a condition. Narumi is not allowed to discuss all things related to her identity as an otaku, and if she violates it, there will be sanctions. Hirotaka did that so that Narumi could learn to blend in with other people and not always talk about her hobbies. Narumi then agreed. Hirotaka and Narumi seemed to be enjoying their date by visiting various places. But at the end of the day, it was clear that Narumi could no longer hold back her desire to discuss anime or all things related to otaku. When their date ended, she seemed relieved and told all the things she saw during the date and associated them with her favorite anime or game. Hirotaka looks confused because he only understands about games. In the evening, Hirotaka heads to a bar and meets a woman named Koyanagi Hinako, who is his co-worker. Seeing the gloomy Hirotaka, Koyanagi then asked what had happened. But Hirotaka only replied that he now has a girlfriend. Hirataka then asked Koyanagi if it was okay to interfere in his girlfriend's hobbies. Koyanagi quickly replied that Hirataka couldn't do that because he didn't have the right to interfere in his girlfriend's business. Hirataka then explained that he did it on purpose, not for himself, but for the sake of his girlfriend. But then, Hirataka thought that maybe the method wasn't right. Koyanagi said that if Hirataka really loves his girlfriend, he should also understand and love his girlfriend's hobbies. The next day at the office, Narumi looks like a zombie whose eyelids are black from lack of sleep working on her manga. Hirataka then asks Narumi on a date next week. But Narumi refuses because she hasn't finished her manga yet. That night, Hirataka then helps Narumi work on her manga. A few days later, Hirataka is seen accompanying Narumi in a big event attended by otaku from all over the country. With Hirataka's help, sales of Narumi's manga increased dramatically because Hirataka is considered very attractive by the ladies. Many girls are willing to queue just to see Hirataka up close. On the next day, Hirataka invites Narumi to come to his house that night. At first, Narumi seemed reluctant because this was the first time she had come to Hirataka's house. Even so, she still agreed. Arriving home, Hirataka told Narumi that he just wanted to invite Narumi to play a game. While engrossed in playing a game, Hirataka suddenly kisses Narumi. Suddenly Narumi felt very surprised and immediately pushed him. Hirataka immediately realized his mistake for kissing Narumi without her permission, and the moment was not right. The next day, while at the office, Hirataka then apologized to Narumi for being presumptuous the night before. After that, Narumi was called by her superior, who asked her to go to Hawaii to handle a project. On the one hand, Narumi was very happy to be able to go to Hawaii. But on the other hand, she feels uneasy because if she goes to Hawaii, she will most likely not be able to watch her favorite anime on time. Narumi then plans to discuss this with Hirataka. But Hirataka didn't reply to her message and Narumi couldn't find him anywhere. Narumi then meets her senior, a man named Kabakura Taro, the project leader that she will handle in Hawaii. Kabakura is a man who is firm and very manly in Narumi's view. In the evening, Kabakura invites his team, including Narumi, to dinner while discussing their project in Hawaii. Narumi then meets Hirataka's close friend, a man named Sakamoto, and asks about Hirataka. However, their conversation seemed quite noisy and disturbing, so Kabakura reprimanded them. Narumi and Kabakura boarded the train on their way home with the same destination. In order not to feel awkward, Narumi then asked about Kabakura's romance. Unexpectedly, Kabakura did not hesitate to talk about his love story, where he admitted that he already had a girlfriend. But lately they often fight and rarely see each other. After getting off the train, Kabakura then invited Narumi to have a drink on the top of the building. Feeling bad, Narumi accepted his invitation. While drinking together, Kabakura then revealed all his problems with his girlfriend while crying in frustration, which surprised Narumi because Kabakura, who is usually always firm and manly at the office, actually has a very opposite side when it comes to his feelings for her girlfriend. Narumi then thinks that Kabakura may really love his girlfriend. The next day, Narumi still couldn't contact Hirataka. Not even he came to the office. Narumi then asked about Hirataka to her boss and found out that Hirataka had taken a week off, and her boss revealed that this was the first time he had taken a leave of absence while he worked at the company. Not long after that, Narumi received a message from Hirataka asking her to come to a club. On the other hand, it appears that a female idol is holding a concert and her fans are seen singing and dancing together to the strains of the song sung by the idol. When Narumi came there, how surprised she was when she saw Hirataka and the idol's fans, who looked very excited. As far as she knew, Hirataka was just an otaku gamer. It turns out that Hirataka attended the concert along with Sakamoto. When Hirataka was out buying cigarettes, Sakamoto told Narumi that Hirataka suddenly asked him to take him to his favorite idol concert one day. But when he got there, Hirataka didn't seem enthusiastic about the concert because it was so different from what he liked. Narumi was even more surprised when she visited Hirataka's house, which was filled with anime items and knickknacks. Hirataka deliberately did this so that Narumi liked him, because now he is the same Narumi who loves anime. However, Narumi even said that she didn't like Hirataka, who turned into an otaku like her. According to Narumi, an otaku is a freak. Because of that, She tries to hide her identity as an otaku so that people don't think of her as a weirdo. After saying that, Narumi left Hirataka. While at the office, Hirataka was asked by his boss to deliver some things to the photo shoot room, where he saw Narumi having a photo shoot with Kabakura. Seeing the closeness of Narumi and Kabakura, Hirataka immediately felt jealous. In the evening, while visiting the bar, Hirataka again meets with Koyanagi. Knowing that Hirataka is upset because of his relationship with his girlfriend, Koyanagi then invites him to her place. On the other hand, Narumi, who was drinking with Kabakura, was surprised by Kabakura's offer to invite her to his place. Narumi immediately refused Kabakura's invitation politely because she already had a boyfriend. However, Kabakura insists that he only wants to help Narumi, who seems to be having problems with her boyfriend and will not mess with her. Arriving at Kabakura's place, they were surprised by the presence of Hirataka, who was wearing a cosplay costume. After that, Koyanagi appeared wearing a cosplay costume that matched Hirataka's, where they planned to do a photo shoot. As it turns out, Koyanagi and Kabakura are a couple living together. Koyanagi is secretly a famous cosplayer otaku who usually cosplays as male characters. Meanwhile, Kabakura is a less intense otaku, but he likes to read manga. Kabakura was instantly angry because Koyanagi invited other men to their house. However, Koyanagi doesn't care because Kabakura has never been willing to wear cosplay costumes and do photo shoots together, so she desperately finds someone else who wants to do it with her. On the other hand, Narumi actually feels happy to see Hirataka wearing a cosplay costume because it looks cooler. Narumi then tells Kabakura that Hirataka is her boyfriend. Koyanagi and Kabakura get into an argument again, which looks even more childish. Seeing this, Narumi and Hirataka decided to leave. On the way home, Hirataka revealed that he had deliberately become an anime otaku so that he could understand when Narumi was talking about anime. He also revealed his reason for wanting Narumi to be his girlfriend, where he didn't care about Narumi's identity as an otaku. Hirataka has been in love with Narumi ever since childhood. After clearing up all the misunderstandings between them, Narumi and Hirataka finally understand their personalities and decide to continue their love affair. The film ends by showing Narumi and Hirataka hugging each other. Through this film, we can learn that in a love relationship, what we need is the feeling of loving each other and understanding each other's personalities and hobbies. Getting someone we love may not be as difficult as we think. However, maintaining a relationship based on mutual love will not be easy, especially if it is not accompanied by mutual understanding and respect for our partners as they should be.